Okay, strap yourselves in because today we're going deep on something kind of freaky. The potential dark side of AI. It's wild to think that just a few years back, an AI beat a world champion Go player.
Right.
That's a game with, more possible moves than there are atoms in the universe.
Yeah, it's pretty mind-blowing.
It's insane. And this technology is just evolving at warp speed.
Yeah. What's fascinating is it's not just about games anymore, right? This is AI that can learn, adapt, make decisions that could, seriously impact our lives.
Right.
And the stuff we're looking at for this deep dive, oh, man, it really gets into, the dark side of all that.
So this whole idea of AI getting smarter than us, I mean, we've all seen those sci-fi movies, right? Robots taking over.
Yeah.
How realistic is that fear?
Well, we're not talking Hollywood scenarios here.
Right.
The real concern is what happens when these systems get so complex that we don't even understand how they work anymore.
Yeah.
Or the decisions they're making.
Okay, I'm following you.
Imagine an AI system that's managing traffic in a city, right?
Sure.
And then it starts prioritizing certain vehicles. Or routes even, based on criteria that we haven't programmed or even thought of.
Yeah, that is a little unsettling. It's we're giving these systems so much power.
Yeah.
Without really knowing what they'll do with it.
Exactly. And this leads to another, big worry. Alignment. How do we make sure that AI is actually working with human values?
With our interests, yeah.
Especially as they become more, independent, capable of making their own calls.
So it's not just about AI getting super smart.
Right.
But about whether it's actually on our side.
Exactly.
What are some examples where this could be a real problem?
Well, think about autonomous weapons systems. Basically, robots that can decide who to target.
Oh, wow.
Without any human input. The chance of those things making mistakes, huge.
Yeah.
Misidentifying a target, escalating a conflict. Scary stuff.
Yeah, that's chilling. We're taking out the human error, but replacing it with something we don't even know. Anything being done about that?
Well, there's a whole movement of AI researchers, ethicists, trying to set up some rules, guidelines, regulations for these autonomous weapons. But it's a race against time.
Because the tech is developing so fast.
That's
Okay, so we've got this potential for AI to outsmart us. And the whole question of keeping it on our team, what other dark sides are we seeing in this deep dive?
Okay, another big one is the impact on human creativity, what we even consider valuable.
Right.
Think about what's already happening with AI-generated music, art, even writing.
Yeah.
I mean, this stuff is sophisticated. Hard to tell from the real deal.
Yeah, I've seen some of that AI art. It's pretty amazing.
Right.
Does this mean human artists, musicians, are becoming obsolete?
That's the question, isn't it? And it's not just about jobs. It's about what happens to creativity itself.
Right.
Human expression. If AI can just do it all, do we start to devalue it, lose something essential about being human?
Those are some seriously deep questions.
Yeah.
It feels like we're just scratching the surface here.
Yeah. And one of the biggest mind benders we'll get into is the singularity.
Okay, I've heard that term, but what exactly does it mean?
So the singularity, it's this hypothetical point in time where AI becomes so advanced it just blows past human intelligence capabilities. We can't even comprehend it.
Okay.
It's the point where AI becomes self-aware, starts designing itself, improving itself exponentially.
So AI is not just getting smarter than us, it's evolving at a pace we can't even keep up with.
Right.
What does that even look like?
Well, think about it historically. When one species gets outpaced by another in terms of intelligence, adaptability, it doesn't always end well for the, quote, lesser species. Yeah. We haven't exactly been kind ourselves,
That's a pretty sobering thought.
Yeah.
So this super intelligent AI could see us as a threat.
Maybe.
Or just in the way, I know this sounds like straight up sci-fi, but are there people actually worried about this?
Oh, absolutely. And it's not just the sci-fi writers. Serious scientists, technologists, philosophers, they're all asking the same questions. What happens if we lose control?
This is a lot to take in. So far, we've got loss of control, ethical nightmares, the death of creativity, maybe even a super AI that doesn't like us very much. It seems like a lot of the fear comes from the unknown, from the fact that we're building something we just don't get.
That's it, exactly. And one of the biggest unknowns, who controls this stuff? How are they going to use it? Which brings us to another, crucial point, the corporate control factor.
Yeah, let's talk about that. I mean, we see these tech giants dumping billions into AI.
Yeah.
What's the worry there?
The worry is that all this development is driven by, well, corporate interests, and those interests don't always line up with what's best for humanity.
Right.
These companies, they want profit, they want to dominate the market, and they might not be thinking too hard about the ethics.
It's like that saying, power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. But what does that look like with AI?
Think about, like, AI-driven surveillance. Yeah. Algorithms that can manipulate data.
Right.
Even systems that can predict, even influence human behavior. This tech, it's powerful.
Yeah.
And in the wrong hands, well, it could be used to control people, to rig markets, to undermine democracy.
Man, this is getting intense. Loss of control, ethical dilemmas, creativity going extinct, a potential super AI, and now we've got corporate overlords. It feels like there's a lot on the line here.
There is a lot, and that's why we need to be having these conversations, to make people aware of the risks and start thinking about, how we can avoid them, how to make sure this technology is used for good.
Okay, so we've laid out some serious concerns, but is there any hope? Like, are there solutions to these problems?
There are, but we'll get into those in the next part of our deep dive. We need to look at the potential safeguards, regulations, and ethical frameworks that can help us navigate this uncharted territory. It's not all doom and gloom. There are brilliant minds working on these challenges, and there's still time to steer this technology in a positive direction.
Well, that's a bit of a relief. I'm definitely ready to hear about some potential solutions because this conversation has been pretty intense. So for everyone listening, make sure you tune in for the next part of our deep dive, where we'll explore the brighter side of this complex issue. Okay, so in part one, things got a little dark.
Yeah.
Superintelligence, ethical dilemmas, the singularity. We even talked about those corporate overlords. Now I'm ready for some good news. Like, what are people doing to solve these problems?
It's not really about solutions, more like figuring out how to navigate this whole new world.
Okay.
One thing that's super important is setting up clear ethical guidelines for AI development, like a Hippocratic oath, but for AI.
So first, do no harm, but for robots.
Yeah, exactly. We got to make sure these AI systems are built with human well-being in mind, like at the core.
Right.
So thinking about fairness, transparency, accountability, like if an AI is deciding who gets a loan, it shouldn't be discriminating against anyone.
Makes sense. We've already seen how algorithms can be biased, so building in those safeguards early on is, crucial. What about the whole intelligence thing? AI getting smarter than us? Any ideas on how to deal with that?
One concept that's gaining traction is value alignment. It's about making sure AI systems are aligned with human values, even as they become more intelligent than us.
So teaching AI what we care about.
Yeah, like what we prioritize. It's a huge challenge, but researchers are looking at ways to teach AI about human values through things like reinforcement learning.
So we can teach AI to, learn what we value. Is that even possible?
It's definitely a work in progress, but there have been some interesting developments. For example, researchers have developed AI systems that can learn to cooperate with humans in games and other tasks, even when they have different goals.
Interesting.
It suggests that we might be able to teach AI systems to respect and align with human values, even if they don't fully get them.
Okay, that's kind of hopeful. But what about the singularity? That still feels like a whole other level of crazy. Can we really control something that's smarter than us?
The singularity is definitely more of a what-if scenario, but it's one we should be thinking about. Some experts think the key is to focus on developing friendly AI that's fundamentally benevolent, aligned with human interests from the ground up.
Friendly AI. Okay, that sounds like something straight out of Star Trek. But how do we make sure a super intelligent AI is actually friendly?
Yeah, tough question. No easy answers. One approach is to design AI with built-in safety mechanisms like kill switches or limits on their ability to, self-improve. Another approach is to focus on AI that's inherently curious about humans, wants to understand our values.
So it's not just about building smarter AI, but about building AI that's fundamentally on our team. I'm starting to see how all these solutions kind of fit together.
Yeah, exactly. And we can't forget about regulations, oversight.
Right.
Governments need to step up, set some clear guidelines for AI development, international treaties to prevent an AI arms race, things like that. We need strong regulatory bodies to make sure AI is used ethically, responsibly.
Sounds like we need a global effort here. But what about us? Just regular people, what can we do?
Well, first off, we got to educate ourselves about AI. The more we understand it, the better we can talk about it, advocate for responsible development.
So no more hiding under the covers.
Nope. We have to be informed citizens, part of the conversation about AI and how it's changing our world. We also need to be smart about our own data, how it's being used to train these AI systems. Be aware of what we're sharing, demand transparency from the companies collecting it.
It's like we're all in this giant experiment, and the choices we make today will shape the future of AI.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. The future of AI is not set in stone. It's something we create through our actions, our choices, how we engage with this tech.
That's actually pretty empowering. It's not just about being afraid of the downsides. It's about realizing we have a say in shaping a positive future for AI. Okay, so we've talked about ethical guidelines, value alignment, friendly AI, regulations, education, and data awareness. Anything else we should be thinking about?
One thing that often gets overlooked is diversity, inclusion, like in the field of AI itself.
Right. If the people building AI don't represent all of us, how can we expect AI to reflect our values, our interests?
Exactly. We need more women, people of color, people from all different backgrounds involved in AI research and development. That way, AI systems are designed with a broader range of perspectives, experiences, reduces the risk of bias, unintended consequences.
So it's not just about building ethical AI.
Right.
It's about building AI that's inclusive, represents everyone. Powerful stuff.
It is. And it's a message that needs to get out there. The future of AI depends on us. Our wisdom, our compassion, our commitment to creating a world where technology works for us, not the other way around.
Couldn't have said it better myself. This has been eye-opening, and I feel like I have a much better grasp on the whole AI thing, both the good and the bad. But before we wrap up this deep dive, I'm curious to see how AI is actually being used out there, in different industries.
Yes.
Let's move from the theoretical to the practical.
Sounds good. Let's start with healthcare. That's one area where AI is already making a big impact.
Perfect. Let's dive into that in the next part of our deep dive. All right, welcome back to the final part of our deep dive on AI. We've talked about the risks, the potential solutions, and now I'm excited to see how this tech is actually being used.
Yeah.
Like in the real world.
Yeah.
You mentioned healthcare. That seems like a field where AI could really make a difference.
Oh, yeah, definitely. AI is already shaking things up in healthcare, speeding up drug discovery.
Wow.
Personalizing treatment plans. Imagine algorithms analyzing tons of medical images, detecting things like cancer super early.
Wow.
When treatment is most effective. It's already happening.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So it's like AI is this super radiologist catching stuff human eyes might miss.
It's not about replacing doctors. It's about giving them a boost.
Yeah.
AI can analyze scans, flag potential problems, and then doctors can focus on what they do best, diagnosis and treatment. It's also being used to develop personalized medicine, like tailoring treatments to your genes, your lifestyle, all that.
So it's like a custom treatment plan just for you. That's the kind of healthcare I want to see.
Yeah.
What other fields are seeing this kind of impact?
Finance is another one. AI is totally changing the game there.
Oh, yeah. How so?
Algorithms that can catch fraudulent transactions, like right as they happen, preventing losses, protecting people.
Okay.
AI systems that can analyze market trends, make investment suggestions, maybe even make financial advice, cheaper, easier to get.
So AI is fighting fraud and helping us manage our money.
Yep.
Are there any downsides, though? Like, we talked about bias in algorithms.
Good point. We got to make sure these financial AI systems are fair, transparent. We don't want them making things worse, perpetuating inequalities. Making unfair decisions.
But those ethical guidelines we talked about,
super important.
they got to be applied everywhere.
Absolutely. Ethics first, no matter what. But we can't forget the good stuff either. AI helping small businesses get loans, providing financial education to people who need it. That's the kind of impact we want to see.
Yeah, it's about using AI for good.
Right.
So we've got healthcare, finance. What else is AI changing?
Transportation is a big one.
Yeah.
Self-driving cars, trucks. They could completely change how we get around.
Okay.
Make it safer, more efficient. AI can optimize traffic flow, reduce congestion, improve logistics.
Self-driving cars still feel a little like sci-fi to me. But I can see how AI could make things safer.
Yeah.
What about the jobs, though? Like truck drivers, taxi drivers?
Yeah, that's a real concern. Every time technology advances, some jobs change.
Yeah.
That's why it's crucial to have, retraining programs.
Yeah.
Social safety nets to help people who are impacted.
So it's not just about the cool tech, but about being prepared for the changes it brings.
That's it. We need to think holistically, look at both the good and the bad. But beyond transportation, AI is popping up everywhere. Education, manufacturing, even agriculture. Imagine AI tutors that personalize your learning. Or AI systems that monitor crops, optimize irrigation, more sustainable farming.
It's like AI is everywhere. It's exciting, but also kind of overwhelming.
It is. But the main thing to remember from all this is AI isn't some mysterious force. It's something we're building, shaping. The choices we make today, the rules we set up, the regulations we put in place, those will decide the future of AI and its impact on us.
So it's not about being afraid of AI or just accepting it blindly.
Right.
It's about understanding it, engaging with it, steering it in a direction that's good for everyone.
Well said. The future isn't set in stone, and something we're creating right now. And it's up to all of us to make sure it's a good one.
I couldn't agree more. This has been an incredible journey into the world of AI, and I hope everyone listening feels more informed and empowered. Keep learning, stay curious, and be part of the conversation. That's how we create a future where AI serves humanity, not the other way around. Until next time, keep diving deep.